Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Grav, aka Gravitate, and today I'm going to be doing my 2022 mid-season NHL award picks and predictions. Now, you name an NHL award, and there's probably been some controversy surrounding it. The Norris Trophy debate with Cale Makar, Hedman, and Fox, the Calder Trophy debate with Zegras, Raymond, and of course, Moritz Seider. There has been so much discussion on all the major awards that I wanted to give my thoughts on every single one. So, for every major trophy, who are my picks and the most deserving players in my opinion to win each one, and which players do I see winning the trophies by the season's end? Watch till the end for all those picks and predictions, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to the Sportsnet YouTube channel for the best sports coverage around. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now we're going to start up today's video with the Art Ross Trophy and my predictions for who will have the most NHL points by the end of the season. As of right now, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are tied with 68 points each, and it's a really interesting scoring debate really when it comes down to it. There's going to be some heavy competition as we get into this second half, but in my opinion, it's between three guys for the really that top end tier of NHL scoring this year, and I think the top three will mostly stay the same as it is right now. Coming in at number 3, I see Leon Draisaitl getting this spot and getting 106 points on the season. Coming in at number 2, I have Jonathan Huberdeau from the Florida Panthers getting 108 points. And coming in at the first place spot is, of course, Leon Draisaitl's teammates in Connor McDavid. I think he'll get 110 points on the year and will go scorched earth in this second half. I mean, the funniest part was over these past few weeks, a lot of people have kind of felt like Connor McDavid slowed down, but his point production has still been fantastic, and even though he's had some slumps throughout this season, to still have that and get 110 points just shows how truly generational Connor McDavid is. But now we're going to move away from the Art Ross Trophy and move on to the Rocket Richard Trophy, and this, in my opinion, is a lot more interesting than the Art Ross race. Even though the Art Ross race has some interesting options, the Rocket Richard race is going to be intense going into the last couple weeks of the year. Right now, Leon Draisaitl leads with 35 points, but you got Kreider, Ovechkin, Matthews, DeBrincat, Connor, even Dylan Larkin in the mix for the goal-scoring lead. In the end, though, when it comes to the top 3, I think it'll be intensely close between 3 different guys. Coming in at number 3 in the goal-scoring lead by the end of the year is Chris Kreider of the New York Rangers, who I think will finish with 46 goals on the year. Coming in at number 2, I think it will actually be Leon Draisaitl, kind of losing his throne a little bit, but still finding a way to get 49 goals on the season. And then coming in at number 1 is from the Toronto Maple Leafs, Auston Matthews, who has just had a resurgence over these past couple of months, and I think will have a hopefully healthy and consistent second half. I think he'll have 52 goals by the time this season is over, and hopefully will reach around that 90 and 100 point threshold for the first time in his career. But of course, with Matthews, the health is always a big question mark going back to his first few seasons in the NHL. If he's not able to stay healthy, then don't screenshot that last prediction. It just never happened. But now we're going to move on to the Vezina Trophy. And this is actually the one trophy that I'm just not going to have any predictions for by the end of the season. But I want to give my top 3 picks as of right now. The top 3 players that I think deserve to be in the conversation and to potentially win it. And when it comes to the number 3 spot for the Vezina Trophy, the 3rd best goaltender so far this year, I'm going to go from Nashville with Juuse Saros. He's always been a player that I've been keeping an eye on. Obviously, the height is really the biggest thing when you look at him and wonder where the talent comes from, but when it comes to Saros, he's been a consistent body of work going back to his time in Finland, and he's always been a super skilled and heavily smart goaltender, which again makes up for the smaller size he has, and he's been just fantastic for the Preds over the past couple of seasons. This year, in 41 games, has a .924 save percentage. A lot of people like to talk about Roman Josi being the MVP of the team, but in my opinion, Juuse Saros does not get enough credit. Then you go on to number 2, and in my opinion, one of the more underrated goaltenders in the league this year has been Frederik Andersen, who continues to play some great, fantastic hockey. In 34 games, has a .928 save percentage. I personally would have never expected this type of resurgence from Frederik Andersen, but at the same time, it is great to see, and he has been super valuable for the Canes as well. But going on to number 1, even though Frederik Andersen has made it close a couple of times throughout this season, for the most part, my Vezina Trophy pick has pretty much always been from the New York Rangers, Igor Igor Shesterkin. We'll obviously get into the Hart Trophy in a bit, but in my opinion, Shesterkin has been one of the most valuable players across the board in the NHL, a lot of times saving the New York Rangers' butts. Yes, the Rangers at points have played well, but their lack of 5-on-5 production has really put the pressure on Igor to be as good as he's ever been, and honestly, I doubt we'll ever see Igor be as good as he is right now. Now, the thing is, this next trophy debate might not be the most popular opinion of today's video, but I wanted to speak my truth because I think, personally, with this next award, it's not a one-man show, and that is the Norris Trophy. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to rush to say Cale Makar is easily the Norris Trophy winner, and if you think that, that's perfectly acceptable, but in my opinion, it's a lot closer than meets the eye. Now, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. For my top three, I'm going to start out number 3 and my third best defenseman this season in Adam Fox. Although I don't think he's been as consistent as he was last season, and he has missed some time due to injury, I still think Adam Fox is one of the NHL's best defensemen, if not the best, most consistent defenseman out there, and I think overall he's still been one of the best and most valuable defensemen in the league this year. Then going on to the top 2 debate, which is really what we're all here for with the Norris Trophy, and it's between, in my opinion, Cale Makar and Victor Hedman. Now, obviously, like a lot of you guys, in the first couple of months of the season, I was ready to kind of pack it up and give the Norris Trophy to Cale Makar, but at the same time, the more I watch Victor Hedman, the more I watch his supreme defensive play this year, which I don't think is getting enough credit, the more I start to sway on his side. I'm more so looking at the overall game when it comes to the Norris Trophy. I know that sometimes it's skewed more to points, but even with Victor Hedman, he's providing one of the most valuable defensive efforts of any player in the entire league, while also providing a point-per-game pace. He has been spectacular for the Lightning, one of the most valuable players in the entire league this year, and in my opinion, just edges out Cale Makar right now. I know the highlight reels are favoring Cale Makar, but in my opinion, the little details have always favored a player like Hedman, and he has been spectacular in almost every single area so far this year. Now, we're going to move on to the most valuable player award, the Hart Trophy for this season. This is another extremely close debate, but I'm going to be giving both my picks for right now and my predictions for who will win by the end of the season. As for my picks personally, at number 3 and the third most valuable player in the NHL this year, I personally have Auston Matthews. Most of this comes from the defensive brilliance that he's had. I think he should be one of the players most considered for the Selke Trophy. The defensive turnaround of Matthews has been something to watch over these past couple of years. Really just a nice development in his consistency and work ethic, as well as being one of the best goal scorers in the league and being around that great offensive level. To me, he's been so key in Toronto's turnaround from a pretty struggling start to start off the season, and in my opinion, he definitely deserves this top 3 spot. Then going on to number 2, I have, from the New York Rangers, Igor Shesterkin. I don't think he's getting nearly as much credit in the Hart Trophy debate as he should. He has been easily one of the league's most valuable players, but especially for the Rangers, is, I think, the true reason why they have been an elite team so far this year. And then going on to number 1, I gotta go with the Great 8, Alex Ovechkin. Just like with Igor Shesterkin, I think Ovechkin's been a huge reason why the Caps have still been prevalent and almost dominant at points throughout this year, but especially when it comes to the 5-on-5 play and the amount of goals he's scoring compared to the rest of the team, it's pretty crazy to see, and he's still prime Alex Ovechkin, which is so fun to see, and hopefully he'll be able to pass Gretzky in just a few seasons' time. Then going into my actual predictions for the Hart Trophy, I feel like the top 3 will be Matthews, number 3, Connor McDavid, number 2, and Ovechkin, number 1. So not that much different, but still pretty similar. But now we can officially get into the last trophy to talk about today in the Calder Trophy, the big mama of NHL trophy debates this season. We have seen so much discussion over the top 3 of this one, it's almost kind of insane to me, but we've been served a pretty great rookie crop altogether. Even players like Anton Lundell and Michael Bunting, who I personally don't have in my top 3, are still fantastic players that deserve to have some massive credit. But going into my picks for the top 3, it of course starts at number 3 with Lucas Raymond. And this is not a slight at Lucas Raymond at all. I've loved Lucas Raymond since before his draft year, and he's one of those players that also goes kind of under the radar. But his chemistry alongside Tyler Bertuzzi and other players, his presence on that top 6 is immediate, and it's really been fun to see that shot come to life, that maturity come to life at the NHL level. Lucas Raymond is here to stay, and it's so good to see him already so apparent and consistent for this Red Wings team, and they'll definitely need him to be a star in the future, which he's already kind of been. But now we're going to go on to number 2. 2022 and go on to a guy that I think is almost tied with him, but just gets the slight edge, of course, in Trevor Zegras. Now, when it comes to Trevor Zegras, it kind of goes back to the Cale Makar and Hedman debate, where I think one player is more flashy, but the other is just a lot more of a complete, or maybe just a slightly better complete player that does the little things so correctly. When it comes to Zegras, you obviously have the highlight reel plays and the excitement and the amazing personality, but at the same time, there's also been some defensive woes that I think keep him back a little bit from my number one spot. Still an electrifying player, and it's so good to finally see the NHL embracing a personality like this for the first time since, like, Alex Ovechkin, it feels like. But now we have to go on to number one, and in my opinion, the best rookie for this season so far. It will have to go to Red Wings defenseman Moritz Seider. Even though I like Zegras and I like Lucas Raymond, from pretty much the start of this season, I felt like Moritz Seider was my number one guy. Stepping into the NHL and already being by far the best Red Wings defenseman is a huge compliment. Even though the Red Wings defense isn't fantastic, Moritz Seider has been above, I think, what a lot of people expected him to be. Even though I liked him in his draft year, to see him becoming this franchise defenseman, it just shows the true genius of Steve Yzerman once again. But the maturity, the skating, the raw defensive tools, it's all come together so fantastically, and his presence is so cool to see. At such a young age, it's miraculous what Moritz Seider has been able to do, and I think he definitely deserves to win the Calder Trophy this year. And going into my predictions for the Calder Trophy, it's the same thing as my picks. I think personally Raymond will get third in the voting, second will go to Zegras, and Moritz Seider will deservedly so get the Calder Trophy in the 2022 NHL Awards. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Make sure you comment down below as well. What do you guys agree and disagree with my picks and predictions? What do you see doing or going differently? What are your predictions for the awards? Who are your picks as well as the most deserving players for each award as well? Let me know your complete thoughts down below. Make sure you share this video with your friends. Get the award picks out there, and hopefully have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.